Good morning, friends, and welcome to Go Long, a show that focuses on local sports and faith, includes thought-provoking interviews with area coaches, players, and sports figures, unashamed Bible discussion, and the popular and doggone it, wow, it's entertaining, the WYK scoreboard. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B.
Good morning.
Doggy, Becky B. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us, because we've got a dandy, and it means so much to Becky B and me to spend this time together with you every Sunday morning. Thank you so much. Hey, lace them up for the most exciting 20 minutes in local sports, the WOYK scoreboard. My friends, as Paul addressed believers in Rome and explained his mission in the book of Romans, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Today, our Go Long topic is play ball. Hey, play ball. We were at the Orioles and Seattle Mariners game Wednesday night, and they had a young person yell "play ball" prior to the game, and it made me think back. In the 70s in the MAC at Elizabethtown, there was an umpire, and I think his name was Jack. I'll get it in a little bit. But anyway, his first name was Jack, and I'd never do his last name. It might have been Wilson, but before the game, he would hold his hand up. He was behind home plate. He'd hold his hand up, point out in the field, and pause, and say, "Gentlemen, play ball." And he would yell it out and bellow that out. You know what? And I loved having him as a home plate umper. I can't remember any time he missed a ball or strike. I'm sure he did. But what I remember about him was play ball, because it made me smile. I'm at third base, and all of a sudden you're relaxed and you're thinking about the fun part of playing the game, right? We're here to play ball. That's what we're here for, instead of, a college baseball game where there's stress and you're, and you need to win and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, let's tie this together in a biblical sense. From the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 5, the city street will be filled with boys and girls playing there. And it's the prophet Zechariah talking about the Israelites returning to Jerusalem. And I think the image is what God brings when we return God into our lives, what it does for us. It's like boys and girls playing in the streets. Can you picture that image?
Yeah, joyful.
A joyful, beautiful image. So that'll be our Go Long topic today, is play ball. How about that? Just play the game, right? Just play the game. My friends, throughout the weekend during today's show, please text your prayer request to 717-350-8591. Becky B will close today's show in prayer. She does every Sunday morning. All right, then, it's red hot at it's downtown Ollie Brown. Go to the refrigerator right now, open the door, grab the mustard, because this is the Grand Salami of faith-based sports radio shows, brought to you by Sports Radio 98.9 FM, 1350 WOYK. First in York and first in sports. Also brought to you by our friend Kelsey Jean at Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. My friends, if you want to sell your house quickly, you want to sell it for more than the asking price, contact Kelsey Jean at Red Barn Home Decors. You'll hear more about her later in the show. All right, then, you want it, you asked for it, you're going to get it. This is the WOYK scoreboard. It is. Yeah, it is. Wow, and we got a lot to talk about today. My goodness.
We do.
State championship baseball games, state championship volleyball matches, local hardball played in all the local ball fields throughout the York Adams League.
And even some 10-pin.
Some 10-pin, some golf. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it is. All right. Hey, the Bermudian Springs Eagles, they won the PIAA Class 3A whole kit and caboodle, the baseball champions, as they win over South Park by a score of 1-0 on Friday. This victory over Bermudian Springs, yes, it's second, count them, the second baseball state title in school history. It's first since 2010. The game played at Penn State University in State College.
Bermudian Springs starting pitcher Branson Diller pitched a complete game, 5-hit shutout to secure the state title. He outdueled South Park's ace Cooper Hockendonner, who struck out 10 batters over 6 innings, while only giving giving up 2 hits. Both teams booked 5 base hits for the game.
All right, the bottom of the second, Bermudians Jackson Stoudemire opened the inning with a lead-off 1 base hit to left field. Then he stole second base. Then he advanced to third base on a Nate Ogle fielder's choice up to bat. Brody Farabee then with a sacrifice fly to shallow right center field, allowing Stoudemire to tag up and score the only run of the game.
The defensive gem of the game for Bermudian came when South Park threatened in the 5th inning with a runner on, but Bermudian's second baseman Braden Heller made a spectacular backhand play, tagging second and then firing to first to turn an inning-ending double play.
You gotta love that glove work, right? For Bermudian pitcher Branson Diller earned the W. He bared down in the bottom of the 7th with a tying and winning runs in scoring position. Wow, Branson Diller forced a pop-up fly to center fielder Lincoln Hege to end the game. Bermudian, their first state championship since 2010, their second in school history, on a 1-0 Goose Egg championship game win.
Let the celebration begin.
Doggone.
All right, and then the Greencastle Atrium View Devils won their first ever PIAA Class 5A Baseball State Championship. They defeated Du Bois area 6-5 in a historic record-breaking 14-inning thriller at Penn State's Medler Field at Lebrano Park.
You know, when you say 14 innings, you ready for this?
That's like double a game.
This game lasted 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Well, you know, they got their money's worth, that's for sure.
It was the longest state championship game in PIAA history, all time. 4 hours, 45 minutes. It took Greencastle Antrim to win their 5A state championship. You ready? Junior Nolan Sullivan drove in the game-winning run with the bases jacked. It was a walk-off single in the bottom of the 14th inning to give Greencastle Antrim that W. How about that? 4 hours, 45 minutes?
Can you imagine that umpire having up and down squatting behind home plate for 4 hours and 45 minutes? That's crazy.
Yikes.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Okay, let's go now to boys volleyball. The Meadville Bulldogs defeated the York Suburban Trojans 3-1 to win the PIAA Class 2A Boys Volleyball State Championship. Suburban came out from the start, gathered the first set in a 25-21 score, keeping the ball as far away from Luke Sorensen, the 6'7" dominating killer from Meadville. But then in set 2, Meadville came back, beating Suburban 25-21. Set 3, Meadville 25-18, and Suburban could not take another set. Meadville took the 4th set 25-20.
Yeah,
but what a great season.
Absolutely, for York Suburban. Yeah, you mentioned Meadville's Luke Sorensen. The kid's 6'8". He's heading to Penn State to play men's volleyball there. 6'7". He led everybody with 25 kills. You know, the Suburbanites, as they have all season long, they had a really nice balanced attack. 39 kills, 14 total blocks, led by senior Trent Weinstein. He had 12 kills. The rest of the starting lineup spread evenly across Truett Miller, Josh Slade, Robert Berry, Zach Perryman. And Robert Perryman led the defensive front at the net with 4 blocks. Zach Perryman, Josh Slade, and Billy Dool each registered 3 blocks.
Congratulations, really, to Suburban, though. You know, coming away with a runner-up state championship, silver medals. Congratulations, especially to the seniors. Trent Weinstein, he's 6'5". He led the front line rotation, really strong, and was the leader in the kills. Truett Miller, 6'3". He factored into the hitting attack. He can hit from both sides. And Josh Slade, he's 6'2". He had many kills on the outside throughout the 4-game set. Robert Berryman anchored the defense, and Zach Perryman rounded out the primary offense, and then Preston Eaglefitz just setting everybody up, too.
All right, congratulations. York Suburban finishes their historic season with a PIAA Class 2A state runner-up, 20 wins, only 2 losses, overall record, and the District 3 championship marbles to boot. Well done to the Suburbanites, right?
Absolutely. In the boys' AAA state championship, Lancaster Lebanon League's Hempfield Black Knights finished as the PIAA Class 3A state runner-up. They fell 3-1 to North Allegheny. Both historically strong in volleyball.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then in local golf, the York County Junior Golf Association completed its Spring Grove Shootout at Hickory Heights on Thursday. This event marked round 2 of the summer golf tour for them. And Thursday, looking at the winners here in the red division, the women's division, Ella Barden had the low score of 80. In second place was Charlie Brostoff with an 82 and Abby Smith with an 87.
In the blue division, in first place, Zach Beaverson. He fired up a 75. Second was Jack Einstein with a 78. Noah Watson in third with the 79.
All right, and in the white division, there was a tie for first place. Cole Miller and Logan Dutterer both ended up with a 75. Jackson Grice had a 77 for third.
All right, this is York County Junior Golf Association. This Thursday, the Spring Grove Shootout, the green division, first place, Tanner Bachelon with a 95. Second, Jackson Price. And third, Gunnar Dodd.
You know, it's always fun to look at that division because those are the kids that are 14 and under. So you know they're just kind of preparing for future here. And then in the 9-hole orange division, in first place, it was Charlie Limmer. He had a 42. In second place, Jonas Yealy ended up with a 46 and 49 for Evan Holmes.
All right, in the 9-hole yellow division, first place with a 50, Andrew Zimmerman with fired up a 50. Second place, Catherine Trickett. And third place, Braxton Henry. They both tied for second in Catherine and Braxton. The York County Junior Golf Association tour continues next week with the Van Eaton Memorial Shootout. That'll be played Wednesday at Valley Green Golf Course. Beautiful golf course. Mm-hmm. All righty. Hey, the Jefferson Titans actually fall to the Helm Express. Here we're going to tell you about local baseball. The Helm Express pounded out an even dozen base hits to knock off the Jefferson Titans 9-3. All these games are going to report played just yesterday. Helm Express got on the board in the top of the second when Parker Strayer had a 2-bagger to drive in a pair of runs.
Alex Tucci earned the win for the Hallam Express. He allowed only 7 hits and 3 runs. 0 of those runs were earned. So, wow, talk about over 6 innings. He struck out 6, and he didn't walk a single batter. Luke Whalen took the loss for the Jefferson Titans. He went 5 innings, had 6 runs. 3 of those were earned on 9 hits, struck out 5, and walked 2.
For the Jefferson Titans, Joe Jasinski, Levi Lafferty, and Aaron Becker each collected 2 hits for the Titans. Becker and Ross draw ball each with a ribby for Jefferson. Batting in the third spot, Ethan Schimmel. Well, he provided a pop in the middle of the lineup and led the Helm Express with 3 ribbies. Derek Sheckard, Reagan Kuhn, Strayer, and Toby Barnhart each with a pair of hits for the Helm Express.
And then Glen Rock rolls past East Prospect. The boys from the Rock, Paper, Scissors played a little Rochambeau, and they beat East Prospect 12-2.
A ground out by Dylan Stoops put the East Prospect Pistons on the board in the first. Then Glen Rock jumped back into the lead in the bottom of the first after Greg Borges doubled the center field and Josh Preston with a sacrifice fly, each with a ribby. Stoops doubled down the left field line, which helped East Prospect. The Pistons tie the game at 2 in the top of the second.
All righty. And then Glen Rock flipped the game on its head in the bottom of the third. They scored 6 runs on 6 hits to take the lead 8-2. The biggest one of the inning was a double by A.J. Miller that drove in 2 runs. Glen Rock scored 1 run in the bottom of the fourth on a solo home run to left field by Borge.
Alrighty, Josh Preston earned the W for the Rock. The starter gave up just 5 hits and 2 runs, working 5 innings. He whiffed 7, only gave up 5 free passes. Josh Kreider took the loss for the Pistons. The pitcher went 4 innings, gave up 9 runs and 10 hits. He struck 4, walked 2. Glen Rock banged out 12 hits in that game.
Wow, they're on a hit and roll,
Absolutely.
huh? Okay, Andrew Uglesby provided some of that pop in the middle of the lineup. He led Glen Rock with 3 runs batted in. The number 3 hitter went 2 for 3 on the day. Ben Collar, Uglesby, and Miller and Borgs each collected 2 hits for Glen Rock. Borgs also stole 2 bases.
Wow, all right. Dan Weckler, Stoops, Sailor Martin, Zach Beller, Mark Shoran each collected a hit for the East Prospect Pistons. Stoops was 1 for 3 at the plate. He led the team with 2 ribbies in that loss.
All right, let's go talk about the Coonrads, as you would say. All right, the Mechanicsburg Cardinals ripped 11 base knocks and spanked the Coonrads on Saturday by a score of 9-1. 1. A double by Make a New put the Mechanicsburg Cardinals on the board in the bottom of the first. Mechanicsburg added to their early lead in the bottom of the third inning after New singled down the left field line. A.J. Wunrick singled down the left field line, and the Coonrads committed an error, each scoring 1 run.
All right, the Mechanicsburg Cardinals scored 3 in the bottom of the 6th on a solar ding-dong. The witch is dead. The deep center by New on the 6th pitch of his at-bat.
Randy Stewart started the game for the Coonrads. The pitcher allowed 8 hits and 6 runs, 4 of those earned, over 5 innings. He struck out 3 and did not walk a single batter. Teed Wirt stepped up on the hill first with the Mechanicsburg Cardinals. He gave up 2 hits and 1 run. That is unearned over 7 innings, striking out 4, and again did not walk a batter.
Alrighty, Nolan Bushaw and Tyler Markley each collected a hit for the Conrads. Jeff Logie and Neal were a force together in the lineup. They each collected 3 hits for the Mechanicsburg two-time boys Cardinals while they're hitting back-to-back in the lineup. They had 5 runs batted in, did Logan Newell. The 3-hole hitter was 3 for 4 for the day. Weinrich and Nick Keene each collected multiple hits also for the Mechanicsburg Cardinals. You know, here on the WNYK scoreboard, you're going to get the best coverage of local baseball anywhere. How about that?
I know how you feel about local baseball too.
You know what? You used to be able to pick up the paper and get the box scores and stuff. Not anymore.
Not anymore. That doesn't happen.
Tune in here to go along to get the best coverage of local baseball every Sunday morning.
Okay, and Tanner Hoffman had a hot day for Stoverstown. He drove in 4 to lead the Tigers past the Felton Mad Dogs. He had drove in 4 runs on just 2 hits. They beat the Mad Dogs 13-1 on Saturday. He singled in the 2nd inning, scored 2 runs, and then doubled in the 3rd inning to score another 2.
Yeah, the Stoverstown Tigers scored 7 runs in the 2nd inning. On the way to this win, Levi Krause singled, scored a run. Abe Dahl was struck by a pitch. He drove in a run. Ethan Hunt, he drew a walk. He scored a run. Hoffman singled, scoring 2 runs. Chris Matheson singled. He scored a run. And also there was an error that scored a run as the Tigers exploded in that 2nd inning.
And then the Tigers played in 5 runs on 3 hits on the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hoffman doubled, scoring 2. Madison doubled, scoring 2 more. And Xavier Bonilla grounded out, scoring 1 run.
Alrighty, Joe Yorgel earned the win for the Stoverstown Tigers. On the hill with the pill, he only gave up 3 hits, no runs over 4 innings. He struck out 4, didn't walk any. How about that outing for Joe Yorgel? Lucas Grazudis took the loss for the Felton Mad Dogs. The starting pitcher went 1 1/3. He gave up 6 runs with 2 hits, struck out 1, walked 3. Krause appeared in relief for the Stoverstown Tigers.
And Madison Hoffman and Ryan Jones each collected 2 hits for Stoverstown. Hunt paced Stoverstown with 3 walks. Overall, the team had patience at the plate. You had 6 walks for the game.
Will Plappert led the Mad Dogs with 1 run batted in. Quentin McNew, Cole Banker, Zachary Liepert, and Adam Lopes each collected 1 hit for the Felton Mad Dogs.
All right, and then we're going to go to the Windsor and Vikings game, where the Windsor Cardinals easily dispatched the Vikings 13-2. They got on the board in the top of the 1st inning after Cole Dockery tripled down the right field line. Connor DeWeese doubled to center field, and Sean Wilson walked, each scoring 1 run.
Alrighty, on the hill, Sean Gladfelder began the game for the Windsor Cardinals. He allowed 3 hits, 2 runs over 4 full innings. He whiffed 7, just walked 4. Alex Myers on the hill for the Vikings. He allowed 5 hits and 8 runs over 3 innings. He whiffed 3, walked 5. Chase Morris pitched a pair of innings of no-run ball for the Windsor Cardinals in relief. He gave up 2 hits, struck out 1, and walked 1.
All right, the Cardinals had 12 hits in the game. DeWeese led them with 3 hits and 4 bats. Wilson, Liscombe, and Doherty each drove in 2 runs for the Cardinals. Wilson led them with 2 walks.
All right, and Cole Bixler led the Vikings with 2 runs batted in. The right-handed hitter was 1 for 3 for the day. Jonathan Karlheim went 2 for 3 at the plate to lead the Vikings in hits with a pair. If you add up all those scores, I think essentially just whopped the Central League.
You think
yesterday.
So?
That's not every weekend, but I think that's what happened yesterday. Hey, we got local bowling to talk about. We got York Revolution to talk about. We got Harrisburg Senators to talk about. We got some local players to talk about. Still lots to do here on the WOYK scoreboard, but you know what?
It's time to go long.
It is time to go long. Every Sunday morning about 9:20 or so, it's an opportunity for us to share not only our love in sports, but also do it in a faith-based way, and we do it by going long. Today our topic is play ball. As I mentioned when we opened the show, I just remember, first of all, a couple things. One, if you can just close your eyes and picture the joy of playing. It could be baseball, it could be kickball, it could be wiffle ball, it could be volleyball, it could be anything, soccer.
Anything you play.
Anything you play or like to play when you were a kid. Just the joy of playing. And I think if you can capture that, and whenever you're full of stress or you're sitting on the dentist chair or whatever it is, just capture that joy. I remember one time being hypnotized, actually in a class, working in a graduate school, and the person who did it said, "Think of a pleasant memory of a child." And my picture was being up on the Glen Rock School Hill, down on the swings, and just swing. My arms were swaying back and forth, and I was pumping my legs, and all the way up till I got my toes to touch the maple leaves on the tree. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what a joyful time to play, right? Yeah.
Well, sports has become really a business in a lot of ways. Yeah. But it's still. I always just chuckle when we were at the Orioles game on Wednesday evening. A lot of things are just business. They're warming up. But there's still some people who are having fun, fist bumping each other, jumping up and doing that chest bump stuff. Playing little pranks on each other, and that's just fun. That's why you started playing a game. That's why you love to play the game and should continue to play the game.
No, absolutely. And I also mentioned the umpire in the 70s in the Mid-Atlantic Conference. I think his name was Jack Wilson, but don't hold me to that. But that's, so, up on the hill at Elizabethtown College where the ball field was, and you're getting ready to play a doubleheader. The stakes are higher when you're talking college sports. You're trying to compete and win games, obviously. And, but he would just raise his hand. And everything would stop. All the players are out in the field. The pitcher's done warming up. The catcher threw the ball. You threw the ball around the horn. Ball's returned to the pitcher. And the umpire would just raise his hand, point out to the pitcher, and just pause for a couple seconds. And everybody would look up, say, what's going on? And then he'd say, "Gentlemen, play ball." And it just, it just relaxed me. It made me smile. It made me think just for a second about the joy of playing and the opportunity to play.
And I remember another umpire, too, that used to always add some levity to the game. I don't know his name. I wish I did. But he was a tall gentleman, and he usually did the youth games. And, there were so many times in youth games that kids were in tears and that they'd get upset or parents would be yelling at kids, and and he always did. I always loved when it was 2 balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs, because he would always pretend he was on like an airplane, and he would kind of right there in the batter's box, he'd go around in a circle and go 2-2-2 coming in, 2-2-2, and would just make everybody laugh and smile too, and just kind of cut some of the tension that these poor kids were in.
Yeah, and you're right. It's about joyful playing, and another step is joyful living. Right? How do we live with joy? And I told a story from the Bible, Zechariah, a prophet, and the Israelites returning to Jerusalem. In chapter 8, verse 5, Zechariah is saying the city streets will be filled. The city streets will be filled with boys and girls playing there. And it just paints a beautiful picture for me, of peace, of safety, of the joy of playing. And that's, isn't that wonderful? And I'd like to take that now with you, my friends, just a step further. And my step into that is that is the joy. That is the peace. That is the safety that you get when God enters and dwells in us, in me, in you. It brings that joy of play ball, And
some people can find joy in the smallest daily things.
Yeah.
I think back to one strong Christian woman who happened to be my grandmother, and Grandma Phillips had a tough life. I mean, there's no other way to say it. She worked from sun up to sundown, had 8 children, really had very little. She lived during the Depression and had these 8 children during the Depression. So, luckily they lived on a farm, so food wasn't too much of an option or too much of a trouble, but they didn't really have 2 pennies to rub together lots of times. But she would find joy in the smallest things. I remember shelling beans with her one time, and she'd find these odd little shaped beans and, show them to the grandkids as she's shelling beans and just, laugh. She would be singing and humming while she's rolling out pies. There were some times she'd make 30 pies in a day because they'd have the threshers coming in or something, and she would just find joy in anything.
From the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verses 30-31. Then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in his presence, rejoicing in his whole world, and delighting in mankind. The image of play ball. Take that image of play ball, and invite our Lord Jesus Christ into your life. You will not be anxious for anything. I think it keeps you in the presence also. When you play ball, all of a sudden it just redirects you to think, okay, I'm here, right? Mm-hmm. I'm here. It just brings you right back to being present, as opposed to worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, or worried about what happened yesterday, or worry what could happen, right? Mm-hmm. It just brings you into presence. Pray ball. It'll release your burdens and just really help in so many ways. I got a couple Bible verses to read from the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. From the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 1 and 2. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. From the book of Mark, chapter 6. I want to read a little bit here also. Verse 31. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, ready for this? Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. It's okay to rest, isn't it? It's okay to step away a little bit from the busy life that we have, just to recharge, right?
Absolutely.
It's okay.
I even remember Jesus kind of going with his disciples and seeking rest. Unfortunately, the crowds seemed to find him wherever he was, but, he realized how important it was just to take a moment and rest. And, and to take some time to recharge your batteries, basically.
From the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. My friends, today, my request, my petition is you play ball.
You've been playing ball this week with grandkids and everything, and hearing their laughter and, trying to be more childlike in our life and just finding joy in all things.
Invite our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ into your life and have the peace, have the rest, have the silence, just let your anxiety go, because it's time to play. So as we close out this segment, my friends, of Go Long, let's just take a couple seconds and close your eyes and think of playing. Think of playing. Think of a pleasant memory as a childhood when you were out playing. And for me, it's my feet touching the leaves of the maple tree, swinging in the top of the hill in Glen Rock, up at the school hill, and think of playing for a second. What is your pleasant memory of playing? Think of that. Just think of it. And then, my friends, just take a second and invite your Lord Jesus into your life, and you will have that joyful play. The streets will be filled with boys and girls playing. From the book of Zechariah, the prophet talks and gives you the image of when God enters our lives and dwells in our hearts. My friend, thank you so much for being with us on However Long. We're going to take a break. We're going to hear from our sponsor. We still have lots to do right after this. Stay tuned, my friends.
Here. Attention all home sellers. Are you ready to win in the real estate game? At Red Barn Home Decors, we know that staging your home is like crafting the perfect game plan. It leads to quicker sales and higher offers.
And this is Kelsey McCullough, your home staging design professional. I'm ready to customize a winning strategy for your home. Whether it's a vacant property needing a full transformation or an occupied stage for that finishing touch, Red Barn Home Decors has the playbook for success. Staged homes sell faster and for more money. Now that's a winning strategy.
So Kelsey, what is your home staging strategy?
Every home is custom. We begin by coming to your home and meeting you. Then we customize a strategy to make it market ready. We head back to the warehouse and pull furniture, art, and decor to prepare for staging day.
So don't fumble your sale. Invest in home staging and see why staging makes dollars and cents. Check out our portfolio at redbarnhomedecors.com or call or text Kelsey at 717-818-1207. You have 20 people that you like, right? Or you at least know 20 people. Bring them to a Revs game. Co-workers, your kids' team, church friends, or that group that never actually hangs out. A night at Wellspan Park is the perfect excuse to get together. Build your own group. All it takes is 20 for the group discount, and it comes packed with great seats, great food, and great baseball. Knock your next outing out of the park and visit YorkRevolution.com to book your group outing today.
The Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and the PIAA promote the highest ideals of good sportsmanship in interscholastic athletics. Always remember to respect student athletes, coaches, contest officials, and game administration to help promote a safe and positive game environment. Together, we can foster a community of good sportsmanship. For PIAA playoff and state championship tickets, head to PIAA.org.
All right, then, welcome back to Go Long and Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. We still have lots of WOYK scoreboard to give you. Hey, how about a little 10-pin summer bowling, you know? When it gets hot, it's nice to be in one of those bowling alleys, you know? And
It sure is, yes.
you know, somebody once told me, a wise person once told me, actually the president of Monmouth College when I was there, once told me the best food you can get is a cheeseburger in a bowling alley.
You know what?
That might
There
be
used to
true.
be some really good French fries at that bowling alley when you were in that bowling league on Wednesday nights.
All right, Becky B. do a little 10-pin bowling reporting here.
All right, for the senior men, Bob Free led the division with a 737 series at Laser Alleys. He was followed by George Butler, who had a 642, Bob Myers, who had 637 pins, and Rick Hammond, who ended up with a 636. All those three competing at Suburban Bowlerama.
All right, Jack Uphouse rolled the top U series with a 670 Suburban Bowlerama. Yes. Woo! Ethan Plessenheiner followed closely with a 659, and Braden Rogers fired up a 606.
And in the Girls Youth League, Khalid Tempe posted a high score for the girls division. She had a 636
Good for
series
her.
at Suburban Bowlerama.
Well done, Kay Lee. Hey, the York Revolution, goodness, they suffered another late game defeat to the Lancaster Stormers as the Stormers plated a pair of runs in the bottom of the ninth as the Revs lose 7-6 last night at Penn Medicine Park in Lancaster. York falls just 5 games below 500 with a record of 26-21, while the Stormers improved to 31-16. They maintain a 1-game lead in first place in the Atlantic North Division. I'll tell you about that in just a little bit.
And up next, the Revs will aim to salvage Sunday's finale at 1:30 today as the left-handed pitcher Braden Scott, who is 2-3 with a 5.02 ERA, faces righty Luke Albright, who is 5-3 with a 4.47 ERA. The Revs fans can catch the action live on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK, 989 WOYK.com. the York Revolution app, and Home Team Network Dugout TV beginning at 1:10 p.m.
Hey, guess who's going to have that call?
I think it'll be Daryl Henry
Absolutely,
with the call.
guys. If you want to hear somebody paint the picture, you want to have somebody that'll have you playing ball. It'll be Daryl Henry. Absolutely. Hey, catch the Revs today here on WOYK. You know the Revs are off tomorrow after this game, series finale with Lancaster today, and they're going to entertain the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs coming in town Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know the Southern Blue Crabs have a 32-15 record. They're leading the South Division by 6 games in the Atlantic League, followed by the Gastonia Ghost Peppers, who I love that name, the Ghost Peppers, who are 26-21. The Lexington Legends are 11 back, followed by 13 back, the High Point Rockers, and 16 games back of first place, and the Charleston Dirty Birds. In the North Division, the Lancaster Stormers 1 game up with a 31-16 record. They're 1 game up with the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. The Revs are 5 games back, 26-21 are the Revs. The Long Island Ducks with a 26-21 record, also 5 game backs. Then pulling up the bottom of the league is the Staten Island Ferry Hawks, who are 8-39, 20,
Having a tough.
23 games back in the North Division of the Atlantic League. How about that?
All right, let's go on now to the Harrisburg Senators.
Yeah.
The Harrisburg Senators and the Richmond Flying Squirrels went back and forth last night before Richmond scored 2 in the 7th to take its first lead of the game. But Harrisburg came storming back, scoring 2 in the 9th and wins 7-6. The teams combined for 26 hits and 13 walks.
Yeah, you know, when I read that this morning, I had to say 26 hits, 13 walks. That's 20.
That's a lot of hits.
Well, not only yes, it is a lot of hits, 26, but 29 base runners in that game. Incredible. So I had, so you know, what's the modern day record for this? Well, the modern day record for one team, and I was at this game. I talk about this game often, but in 2007, the Texas Rangers absolutely blew out the Orioles in Camden Yards by a score of 30-3. I don't know if you remember, but we took our men's group from the church here in Glen Rock, went down, and I was sitting next to Pastor Ed, and you know, first of all, when you watch a game like that, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this just be a boring game, and all of a sudden,
couldn't get any worse. Huh?
Yeah, when Texas gets up like 15, 16 runs, now all of a sudden you start cheering for them because you just want to see how many runs this team can score, right?
You actually cheered against the Orioles?
Well, I did, because I just wanted to see how many runs Texas could score. I mean,
I thought you were a loyal fan.
I am, but the Rangers 30-3 in that blowout, August 22nd, 2007, at Camden Yards over the Orioles. They banged out 29 hits. 29 hits, and then say, all right, so you say, okay, that's a lot of hits, but the most for 2 games, most for 2 teams combined hits in Major League history. How about this? In July 10th, 1932. Now, that's modern era baseball, but it's still a long time ago. Yeah, Cleveland, the Indians, and the Philadelphia Athletics. You ready? They combined for 68 hits.
Oh, my
The Indians had
goodness.
33. The Athletics had 35 hits. Final score, Philadelphia 18, Cleveland 17. 18-17, 68 hits. Isn't that great?
That is crazy.
Wow. Hey, I got to tell you this, this is going to the old wrestling match, the old wrestlers. So,
Okay.
Chance Marsteller, you remember him from Kennerdale, right?
Absolutely. An outstanding wrestler.
Yeah. Well, he's going to match up with another local, which is Levi Haynes from Biglerville.
Oh, the Penn State
The Penn
wrestler who's
State
won the national title so
NCAA
many
champion.
times.
Yes. So they're going to match up here in the, let me get it right, in the 79 kilogram, which is 174 pounds. It's going to be in New Jersey. It's going to be, the winner is going to represent Team USA in the 2026 Senior World Championships in Bahrain. So it won't be Marsteller and Haynes, 2 local Central Pennsylvania wrestlers are going to match up coming up here soon. That's going to be on June 19th. So
that's this week. Yep.
That's this week. So we'll report on that next week. But what a great showdown of Central PA wrestlers, and it really highlights.
Now Marsteller, though, he's got to be a good 10 years older than Haynes.
Yeah,
don't you
maybe.
think?
Well,
Because he's been coaching at Kennerdale for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, not coaching, but he.
No, No,
Yeah.
but I think he was helping with their youth program.
Well, maybe.
I
You're right.
believe.
All right, yeah, Marsteller from Kennerdale and Haynes from Biggerville from the Apple capital of the world. Both incredible careers in wrestling. Going to match up again. It doesn't seem like senior, right? The 2026 Senior World Championships in Bahrain coming up. Good luck to both of them, right? I mean, only one can win, right?
And if I remember correctly, wrestling's a little different at that level, isn't it? It's not like the collegiate wrestling that Haynes has been wrestling. There's a couple
It's
different
more
rules.
Yeah, I think it's more takedown oriented as opposed to riding on the mat, but don't hold me to that. But yes,
Okay.
it's more of a takedown game, right? Yep, more of a quickness takedown
But
game.
still, to have two local people, that's exciting.
A guy we interviewed just a couple weeks ago, Ian Korn from York Suburban, right-handed pitcher from York Suburban, now is a graduate student at West Virginia. And West Virginia is in the College World Series out in Omaha, Nebraska. Well, he came out of the pen Friday night in the game 1 of the College World Series as the Mountaineers win 7-5 over Troy. So Ian Korn from York Suburban pitched 6 innings, 6 full innings in relief. It's his longest relief appearance of the season. And during those 6 innings, he scattered only 2 hits, gave up just 1 run. It was a game-tying solo home run by Troy's Jimmy Yanachek in the 7th. He struck out 4, but Ian Korn is now 6-1 for the season, again, from York Suburban. So you can catch West Virginia and Ian Korn on national TV tonight as they face number 5 nationally ranked North Carolina, the Tar Heels, Sunday night tonight on ESPN. You know what? And here's the deal. Charlie Arts and I, the Chisel, also talked with Ian on one of our Faith in Baseball podcasts, which you can access on YouTube. If you want to see Ethan Korn on YouTube, Faith in Baseball, Ian talks about his career, talks about his faith. Go to YouTube. It's got 30,000 views, by the way. But you want to see more about Ian Korn for about an hour. The Chisel and I talked to him on YouTube, Faith in Baseball. But what a incredible young man, Ian Korn. Well done. Good luck. 6 innings in relief the other night in Game 1 of the College World Series. How about that?
That is amazing.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely amazing.
Now, most relief pitchers don't throw that long, though. 6 innings. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were down at the Orioles,
No.
some of them were like 2 innings, 2 batters.
Well, West Virginia got down early, and
Okay.
Ian Korn bailed them out. And
Came in and saved them,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. Well, he'll tell you. I mean, if you go to Faith in Baseball on YouTube, and I mean, he talks about the West Virginia coach uses him in high, I don't know what you call it, high profile, high tense situations, right? When they need outs,
Because they know he's a cool cat on the mound, or
well,
what?
that plus they know he's reliable, right?
Okay.
So if they need to get 1 out, they go get him, and if they need to get 6 innings in the College World Series, they go get him. So he's very versatile. I personally think he's got a Major League Baseball career. Time will tell. He throws. He's not a 98-mile-an-hour thrower.
But he's consistent.
Yeah, he tops out 94, 95. But here's the deal. He throws strikes. I mean, he attacks hitters. And he's got a level head. I mean, nothing phases the guy. He
Well,
just comes
yeah.
out
I
and
mean,
pitches.
if somebody hits a home run off you and you're still able to compose yourself and keep
Yep.
pitching for a couple innings, I think that's
Yep. He just plays ball, right? He
Yeah.
play ball. That's what he does.
all right.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back. We got some all-star teams to talk about here on Go Long. Thank you so much for being with us. You know what? It just means so much to Becky B and me to have this time together with you. Just not only today, but every Sunday morning as we celebrate the accomplishments of all of our local athletes and coaches and others involved in sports. It's just wonderful to do it and to do it in a faith-based way. Alrighty, my friends, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsor, Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents.
Daryl Henry here. Attention all home sellers. Are you ready to win in the real estate game? At Red Barn Home Decors, we know that staging your home is like crafting the perfect game plan. It leads to quicker sales and higher offers.
And this is Kelsey McCullough, your home staging design professional. I'm ready to customize a winning strategy for your home. Whether it's a vacant property needing a full transformation or an occupied stage for that finishing touch, Red Barn Home Decors has the playbook for success. Staged homes sell faster and for more money. Now that's a winning strategy.
So, Kelsey, what is your home staging strategy?
Every home is custom. We begin by coming to your home and meeting you. Then we customize a strategy to make it market ready. We head back to the warehouse and pull furniture, art, and decor to prepare for staging day.
So don't fumble your sale. Invest in home staging and see why staging makes dollars and cents. Check out our portfolio at redbarnhomedecors.com or call or text Kelsey at 717-818-1207. You have 20 people that you like, right? Or you at least know 20 people. Bring them to a Rebs game. Co-workers, your kids' team, church friends, or that group that never actually hangs out? A night at Wellspan Park is the perfect excuse to get together. Build your own group. All it takes is 20 for the group discount, and it comes packed with great seats, great food, and great baseball. Knock your next outing out of the park and visit YorkRevolution.com to book your group outing today.
The Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and the PIAA promote the highest ideals of good sportsmanship in interscholastic athletics. Always remember to respect student athletes, coaches, contest officials, and game administration to help promote a safe and positive game environment. Together, we can foster a community of good sportsmanship. For PIAA playoff and state championship tickets, head to PIAA.org.
Welcome back to Go Long and Win the Color with me, Becky B. Again, thank you so much for being with us. You know, lots to talk about, but the York Adams coaches announced the boys volleyball all-stars, including the player of the year here recently, and we want to give those guys a shout out because what a tremendous season. You know, the York Adams League has always been highly successful when they leave and play in districts and also in state playoff, and certainly played out again this year as York Suburban goes on and plays in the state championship game.
Well, and look at the run that Dallastown had,
Yeah.
Central York, Northeastern. You know, they nothing to be ashamed of that you're not the state championships because they've really represented our area well.
Yep, absolutely. So these are the all-stars in boys volleyball selected by the York Adams coaches. First of all, Becky B, the player of the year.
All right, the player of the year was Trent Weinstein from York Suburban. He is a senior, and he dominated actually in two sports.
Yeah.
When you look at it here, in volleyball, he played an outside hitter, and of course, you know, he was one of the main attack players, looking for the most kills for the York Suburban Trojans on their way to the Class 2A championship.
Yeah.
You know, help them get a district title, and you know, it was one of those things when you would watch Suburban play, you just knew that although they were very, very balanced, when it was time that they were coming for a crucial play, you knew that the ball was probably going to him, and he was powerful.
Well, he's tall. He's 6'5". He also was the team captain, shooting guard for the highly successful York Suburban boys basketball team. You know, he contributed to that basketball team since his freshman year, and just. I mean, he shoots the lights out of the basket. If he's got a half a step, you might as well say it's going down from out beyond that 3-point arc. So tremendous athlete, player of the year, Trent Weinstein of York Suburban, well deserved, right? Especially carrying him into the state championship game.
You know, but watching him on the court for volleyball, watching him on the court for basketball, he was also one of those players that was steady, but he wasn't showy. You know what I mean? Like he didn't put it in your face.
True.
He was a gentleman on the court, shaking hands, you know, helping people up. Just a very, very competitive, right. but a nice guy too.
Absolutely. Also, then York Adams coaches selected York Suburban's coach Oliver Good, the head coach of the Suburbanites, as the coach of the year. Again, taking the Trojans to their District 3 Class 2A championship. You know, social studies teacher at York Suburban, took over as head coach in 2018. Prior to that, he was co-head coach and top assistant under longtime head coach Jamie Evans for 5 seasons. Again, tremendous person, tremendous leader. You know, we had a chance to watch him play this year, watch him coach this year. You know, when I go watch teams play. I enjoy the game, but I watch coaches also, and to watch him interact with his players. I mean, he treats them with respect. He obviously knows the game well in their schemes and what they do on the volleyball floor. But just a good man, a good teacher, a good man. Oliver Good, selected as Coach of the Year in the York Adams League.
All right, and then first team representatives from Spring Grove, the setter, Luke Bear. When you watch Luke here on the court, he is kind of like a little general on the court.
Yeah.
He's not tall in stature, but he directs players around, and you can just see, they look to him. He looks over and determines where the ball should go for his offense.
Outside hitter Levi Braswell, Northeastern, the Bobcat. This dude just flat out nails the ball, right? If you're on the other side of the net, when this guy's getting when you see his elbow above the net, you might as well get on the floor because that's where it's coming.
Absolutely. Okay, Gordon Campbell from Dallastown, senior outside. Campbell, another powerful hitter, and he was one of the main cogs helping Dallastown to go through that long run into the state playoffs. They ended up quarterfinals in the state. Just outstanding year, and he was one of the main reasons.
Sure, another Papertown boy, Louis Garcias, a senior from Spring Grove, played in the middle position for those Rockets in a very successful season. Good all-around player.
Yes.
Good all-around player.
And he's going to be continuing his career at Juniata, I believe.
Absolutely, yep. And they're a powerhouse. They're a Division III volleyball powerhouse. So well done, Louis Garcia.
Okay, and then from Eastern York and outside, we have Aaron Hildebrand too. Aaron had one of those. You would see the ball going to him and see him wind up. And when we watched him play, there was a little bit of shaking on the other side of the net.
Yeah.
An excellent hitter, and his serve was just one of those. He had several aces the match we saw.
Yep, first team All-Star from Suburban, junior outside hitter, Truett Miller, great all-around player. Again, taking these Trojans to a District 3 championship and finals of the PIAA state championships as well.
All right, and a youngster on the first team. We have Ray Pfeiffer from Northeastern, and opposite. This is an up-and-coming guy with lots to watch, and one of the reasons Northeastern ended up as the York Adams champion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, second team. Let's go through them quickly. Okay. Robert Berry, Suburban, junior middle hitter.
All right. Tysar Bordana from Dallastown, the setter for Dallastown.
All right, a senior outside hitter from Central York, the Panther, Ian DeVos.
And Gavin Guerreri from York Suburban. This guy shouldn't be overlooked as the setter for York Suburban.
Sure. All righty, middle hitter, junior from Dallastown, the Wild Thing, Carson Hershey.
And this young man from Central York, Shavesh Jethra, the setter, he was just all over the floor. Amazing digs and just an amazing player.
Right. Opposite hitter, a senior from York Suburban, Josh Slade.
All right. And from Central York, the senior opposite, TJ Talley.
All right. A senior setter for Northeastern. This guy handed out dimes like they were from the bank. Jacob Zambito. Man, could he play. All righty. Honorable mention also from the York Adams League.
Okay. And we have Jose Diaz from Dallastown. He was a senior. He's a middle hitter.
Senior outside hitter from Central York, James Eckert.
And Kyle Garland from Central York as well. He's also a senior. He's a middle hitter.
All right, a middle hitter, senior from Redline, Singardtown, Noah Good.
And Cole Heffelfinger from Dallastown, another youngster, a sophomore opposite.
All right, a senior from York Suburban, a setter, Preston Ilgen, Fritz.
And Jet Lawrence from Spring Grove. He's the libero for the Papertown boys.
What is a libero, Becky B?
They're the ones that wear the different color uniforms. No, they're like a defensive specialist.
Yeah. All right, from Papertown, Spring Grove, a senior outside hitter, Zane Lawrence.
All right, and Daniel Lowry from Dallastown, another libero. He is a junior, so he'll be back.
All righty, from Northeastern libero, a senior, Garrett Meador.
And Cameron Stombaugh from Dallastown, he is a junior setter. You'll see him again next year.
All righty, and Jackson Wirtz, Northeastern, senior outside hitter. All right, so that's the York Adams League. That it'll be interesting because up till now in the York Adams volleyball, all the teams are lumped together in one division, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So next year they're actually gets divided up into two divisions. It'll be interesting how that plays out.
Oh, it certainly will. And looking at the divisions, oftentimes they have like the bigger schools and so forth in one division and the smaller schools in another division. But I think isn't the it's not York Adams anymore. What's it going to be?
South
Central or yes,
I don't
yeah.
know. We got to get that.
But I think that they're, besides looking at the how many students are attending each school, I think they're also looking at strength of programs.
Yeah.
So, you have some schools that just have been very, very successful that are smaller schools. So they'll be going up to divisions, and some of the larger schools that, have difficulty sustaining a program might be coming down in divisions. And so it'll make it interesting that you'll see schools playing opponents they probably have not played previously.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, hey, we have lots to do here on Go Long. In the coming weeks, we're going to go over all the baseball and softball all-stars, including some breakdowns on them. So there's, we still lots of coverage to go throughout the summer here on these all-star teams for all the spring sports, boys and girls lacrosse all-stars, tennis all-stars. So lots
track
of
and field. Don't forget about them.
Yikes.
Hop, skipping, jumping, and running.
Yeah, so it's going to be a full summer of sharing all-stars with you, as we cover local sports here on Go Long. So a couple things we got to recap before we get out of here again, because of the significance. The Bermudian Springs Eagles, again, PIAA 3A baseball state champions. How about that? You can say that more than once and has a nice giddy up to it. They defeated South Park 1-0 on Friday. It's the second state title in school history for the Bermudian Springs Eagles, their first since 2010.
All right, and when you get to that length in this season, their starting pitcher Branson Diller pitching a complete game, because at this point in the game they're getting kind of wiped out. They've been playing since March.
True.
And playing a couple games a week, but he had a 5-hit shutout to secure the state title. Outdueled South Park's ace Cooper Hockendoner, who struck out 10 batters over 6 innings, only giving up 2 hits. And both teams had 5 hits for the game.
Yeah. Well, here's how the winning run was the only run of the game, scored in the bottom of the second for Bermudian. Jackson Stoudemire, he opened up the inning, led off with a single to left field, and then what? This is how close games are won. Then he stole second base, playing a little small ball, right? Then he went to third base on a Nate Oldfield fielder's choice. How about that? Teaching guys to hit behind the runners. Good job, Nate Ogle. And then Brody Farabee hit a sacrifice fly to short, shallow right center field. Stoudemire tug up and scored the winning run for Bermudian. There's also, when you win 1-0 games, you got to do it on the defensive end as well.
You better believe it. And probably the most outstanding defensive play of the game for Bermudian came. This was in the 5th inning. South Park was threatening. They had a runner on base, but second baseman for Bermudian, Braden Heller, backhanded the ball, tagged second, fired to the first baseman, and had a double play.
Alrighty.
Now, the kind of stress that's on when you're in a 1-inning game, and when you think about, it's so easy to let your emotions get hold of you, but, and even a routine play to mess it up, but to do an outstanding play like that. And
absolutely. Well, you talk about nerves of steel. How about on the hill with the pill? Bermudian's pitcher Branson Diller. 1-0 game, but in the bottom of the 7th, the South Park had the tying and winning runs, not only on base, but in scoring position. And Branson Diller forced a pop-up fly to center field of Lincoln Hagee to end the game. Bermudian Springs state champion. So lots of just good old baseball. That's good old hardball. 1-0, right?
Absolutely.
That's
but can you imagine Lincoln Hagee waiting for that ball to come down too?
Yeah.
Just get it in my glove. Get it in my glove.
In 5A, then a historic Greencastle Antrim historic 5A state championship game, right?
Yep, they defeated Du Bois 6-5, 14 innings later.
Yeah, yes. Here's the deal about that 14 innings. That game lasted 4 hours, 45 minutes. It was the longest. It reminds me of the hot dog that I ate the other day. The longest state championship game in PIAA history. Junior Nolan Sullivan drove in the winning run with the bases jacked. It was a walk-off single in the bottom of the 14th for Greencastle Antrim. Out of District 3, the Blue Devils win their first ever PIAA Class 5A state championship. Took it home for the Marbles. How about that?
And we would we can't go without mentioning
mention it.
congratulations to the York Suburban Trojans on their silver place finish in the 2A state volleyball
Alrighty, again,
championship.
my friends here on Go Long, send or text your prayer request to 717-350-8591. Becky B closes the show as she does in prayer for us, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you and praise you for this time together. And we thank you and praise you for the beauty of the earth and for the wonderful, wonderful summer weather that we've been having. We just thank you, Lord, for all the many blessings you give us. And thank you for the joys that you give us every single day. Lord, help us to be more childlike and to enjoy the simple things and to be joyful. We ask you, Lord, that you be with Mary Rose as she still recovers, to give her strength, help her to continue to work to get stronger. Be with Bonnie as she goes through her treatments and give her strength and endurance, and with Diane and Jan as they both continue to work hard. Be with Jan as he waits. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. And now, my friends, the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Thank you to Kelsey Jean from Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging takes dollars and cents. For Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WYK. First in York and first in sports. This is Wayne McCullough and Becky B saying, go long.